A fandom divided. From the sands of Tatooine to the jungles of Kashyyyk, HoloNet grifters spread hate and fear, forcing innocent fans to endure a joyless galaxy. Determined to keep the peace, two scruffy-looking nerf herders from the Outer Rim brave the wretched hive of hotcakes, scum, and villainy to bring hope to the hopeless. This is
No Disintegrations,
a Star Wars podcast.
This is where the fun begins.
Davo!
Hello there. Haydo.
To be or not to be?
Oh,
That is the question, dear David.
you know what? I'm actually shocked. It's amazingly on point.
Super on point somehow.
It's almost like you understand words. You words good, Haydo. What is that alluding to?
Well, today we're going to talk about some Glup Shittos. That's what we're talking about.
A term I was not familiar with until Haydo had told me about it. And then once he did, the idea for this pod just manifested itself in the best possible way and in keeping with our odyssey over the last episode and this one.
Yeah, we're going from one classic to another, huh? So for the uncivilized who might be listening, or the uncivilized like Dave was, a Glup Shitto is an obscure character known to hardcore fans but unknown to general audiences. And by God, is this franchise full of some Glup Shittos.
I'm just still smarting from the burn of being a filthy casual.
So the term originates from a 2020 Tumblr post from a user named Gomjabar, which says, every time a new Star Wars movie or show is announced, all the fans are like, oh my God, Glup Shitto is back. And it's so true. I remember when that first trailer of The Mandalorian and Grogu dropped, I put it in a group chat with my friends. And I was like, yo, it's Embo. And everyone was like, who the fuck is Embo? And I was like, you don't know Embo from 3 minutes of screen time in Star Wars The Clone Wars? And then my mate hit me with, okay, so it's a Glup Shitto.
I have to say, there's one of the most favorite things about our friendship and Star Wars journey together has been the number of times that I felt like for the most part, I was in my group, the biggest Star Wars nerd, or, the most faithful. And then I come here and I am literally a filthy casual. And it's I was the one who would be, as I've said before, delivering the DVD commentary of stats and statistics and knowledge whenever I'm watching a film or discussing it. And you are just dropping knowledge bomb after knowledge bomb every single time we have a chat. So this was a great little one to find out.
Yeah, it's what Qui-Gon says, right? There's always a bigger fish. So, going from talking about Glup Shittos, and as two mentally ill pals who love us some Glup Shittos,
We do.
we're going to be talking about two characters, and I reckon I'm going to put them in what I'm going to call the Glup Hall of Fame.
I think that is it's really funny because when we were talking about this, I wasn't familiar with the term Glup Shitto. You were not familiar with what we're reviewing this week.
Well, familiar in one way, which we'll get to later on, but I hadn't read anything these two characters in.
And yeah, so I guess maybe I'll rip the Band-Aid off unless you had a intro that you had prepared.
No, go for it. Who are we talking about? Who are the two members of the Glup Hall of Fame? Our first inductees.
The Glup Goats. the Goat Shittos of the podcast are Tag and Bink. So Tag and Bink Are Dead is a 2-issue comic series produced by Dark Horse in, I think it was 2006.
That's when the full collection comes out.
Okay, then I felt like it was way earlier than that. So
yeah, so 2001.
2001, and it was basically it's a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead kind of nod. And I'll let the classically trained writer explain the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern part of it.
Yeah, so it's Tag and Bink Are Dead is based on basically a man named Tom Stoppard wrote a black comedy play called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead which actually was first staged at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 1966. So, geez, that's old.
Almost as old as me.
Yeah, not quite as old as the Odyssey, obviously, or when, as you said on a previous episode, you were there when Fire.
Still a big deal. Still a big deal.
Still a big deal. And yeah, Stoppard actually went on to direct the 1990 film adaptation of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which starred Gary Oldman and Tim Roth.
What a dynamite combo. Two
Yeah.
absolute powerhouses. So yeah, I was familiar with it, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of how the play works is they're side characters from Hamlet.
Yeah, essentially. So obviously Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are the childhood friends of Hamlet.
Right.
In the play. But they're minor characters. So it's like a
Glup Shittos, one might say.
Exactly. Yeah, they are the Glup Shittos of Hamlet. Obviously William Shakespeare's Hamlet, which is, I don't know if you know this about me, I'm a big Shakespeare fan.
had not ever noticed either that or Greek mythology or the classic writings, which is, it's so different for me because I was there when it all happened.
Exactly.
And you're just reading, for you it's ancient history. For me, it's just,
You were picking up like yellow magazines back in the day being like, who's this Shakespeare they're all talking about?
It's what I always joke. People are like, oh, that's old school. And I was like, mate, for me, that's high school.
No, I genuinely think like Shakespeare's the greatest storyteller of all time. Like I'll fight anyone. I'll die on that hill several times. You know what? Like you're not getting past me. Like you'll see the whites of my eyes on that hill, and then you're dead.
Wow, that escalated.
Yeah, no, and Hamlet's probably one of my favorites.
No, it's fantastic, and I love this because Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. It kind of takes you on their journey of like they're just in the background, and it's just, I guess, Hamlet from their perspective. And it's just they're like flies on the wall, basically. And I had familiarity with this play at the time. And then I was a huge, not that I'm not now, but like back then when it first released, I was a massive comic head. Like that was probably my number one fandom. It was just comics, any comic I could get. And I saw this and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck this is. It looks cool. It's comedy, which is something that, and I do want to talk about this a little bit, is something that Star Wars is absolutely starved for. And I think that it is so fucking ripe and ready to go. I'm not saying it doesn't have comedic elements, but everyone in the fandoms, I feel in general, are so caught up with the seriousness of what it is. I think there needs to be a little bit more of this injected into it, and just the sheer ludicrousness and insanity of it all. And I think the other thing is, so many people would not have read this, but it is so unbelievably clever in what it does. At first glance, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Final Space. I would imagine takes a lot of notes from this kind of stuff, where you're sitting there going, this is just dumb and it's stupid. And then you look a little bit deeper and you're like, the way that they've actually pieced this together is extremely clever. And they've gone into tropes, they've gone into memes, they've gone into classic stories, goofs, gaffs, bloopers, like everything. And they've taken it and crafted it into a really, really clever story, in my opinion. For me, it's on par with, like, I know you're not a Trekkie, but what they did with Star Trek Lower Decks in the animated series is like, it just took all the seriousness and it gave it that level of gravitas, so to speak, as far as like the stakes were there, but it was also just ridiculous and ludicrous and laughing at itself. And like, honestly, I think that if they did like a Tag and Bink animated series for like as on par with like Lower Decks, I reckon that the fan would eat it the fuck up. And my only tiny bit of fun trivia is that Kevin Rubio, who is the writer of Tag and Bink Are Dead, was also the guy who wrote Troopers, which is the cops ripoff with, a bunch of stormtroopers, getting caught up and doing dumb shit.
As far as like genres go, like I agree. There's no comedy really in like Star Wars. The closest you get is obviously Jar Jar Binks, which people feel a certain way about that. But like just in general, like, I always talk to you about, I'd love horror to sort of make an appearance. And we get glimpses of that. Like I think we all agree, like that Rogue One scene with Vader, like when Star Wars dips its toe, it's awesome.
The reveal of Rey as a Palpatine, horrific.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Absolute horror.
Yeah. That's probably
not the actual moment, just the story beat. Horror.
Yeah.
Horrific.
Rey being a Palpatine is perhaps one of the scariest things I've watched in a cinema. I was like, wow, imagine undoing everything you just set up. That's insane.
This will be a sidebar for when we talk about the sequels, but I love the fact that every film in the sequel trilogy undoes the film before it. Every single film just goes, nah. Just ignoring everything that happened in the film before.
Well, you know what they say, Dave. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It is like poet. No, I believe it's you have to say it like a what is it? A newsreader. Head, and it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Rhymes. Take it easy now, dollface.
Oh God! If you were wondering if this podcast is off the cuff, we've just derailed it for each other.
No, but yeah, like I smashed out the 2 issues pretty quick, and then my first thought was just like, well, that was dumb. And then I sort of sat with it for a bit and I was just like, well, when you think about it, Star Wars is dumb. A lot of stuff in Star Wars is dumb. And I love it is so much of just, it is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. It's these 2 characters sort of fumbling their way through a story that's happening around them, but they're not really influencing in any meaningful way.
But they kind of are. But they're there at every pivotal fucking moment. So the breadth of the story, at least what we're covering today, was the first 2 issues were basically Star Wars and Empire, and it ends there. Now the series doesn't end there, and this was something that I found out through the course of researching it for this show. Was I didn't know they'd ever done sequels. And they have, and I still haven't read them. And I'm hoping that will be something that we'll pull, Yeah,
definitely. Because, I found that interesting. I was like, well, they obviously did more of these if there's a compendium and Kevin comes back and he takes on like the prequel trilogy where like Tag and Bink are Force sensitives and they trained at the Jedi Temple under Yoda but they were kind of, in terms of like, you've got Anakin, who's like the chosen one, but they're at the other end of the spectrum. They're like the special kids.
The unchosen ones.
Yeah. They're like the...
No, they'll be like Finn, Force sensitive and hyped up and then just do nothing with the character.
I think they're like even below that. I imagine when Tag and Bink went on the Gathering to find their like kyber crystals, they were sitting on the ship like licking the windows on the way. Like that's the type of vibe that these 2 have.
And then like Tag just looks out the window and sees something shiny and is just like, that's it. Is it an actual kyber crystal? Nobody knows. It's just something shiny that they both saw. It's quite funny because we do sit there and like you said, it's dumb. It's dumb, but they're not dumb.
No.
They're quite calculating to a point, quite manipulative in what they do. They are definite opportunists. And I there's a part of me, and I know you'll feel the same way, getting how the story beats. They do have a crossover with both of our favorite character in the Star Wars universe, which completely goes against our GOAT episode where we both adamantly swore that Boba Fett was not our number ones, lying to each other and ourselves in the process. I'll be bringing that up with my therapist at some point, but they do have a series of quality interactions with Boba Fett, which are just absolutely fantastic. But I was struggling where to start with this because it's kind of like, what are the beats? What do you compare it to? I was going to compare it to Spaceballs, but I know that you're not a fan of Spaceballs. And also I think it's a little cleverer, not to besmirch the Mel Brooks classic, but
I don't hate Spaceballs. You've just like nailed how I feel about it. It's kind of like the same way I feel about Scary Movie. It's like, oh yeah, it's kind of funny and it's got its gags, but I don't think it's very intelligent in its comedy. Whereas I read this and went, oh, that's clever. Oh, I had a lot of moments like that in something that's wrapped up in like maybe 30 pages. But
I think that's what got me is how short it was, but how much it is like jam packed.
Yeah, it's very kinetic. Like, it's going from scene to scene. Because I think what Kevin Rubio understands is like he's obviously storyboarded this in a way where he's like, what are the key moments in Star Wars
and how can I
Empire?
insert them
Yeah.
into it, or like directly into it, or actively avoiding it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think my favorite moment is when they're escaping in the second issue, so in Empire, where they've kind of done like the retcon of what happened in the previous issue, but they steal an Imperial shuttle, and then I was sitting there thinking, going, is this going to be Shuttle Tidarium from Return of the Jedi? And then the reveal is, oh yeah, it's Shuttle Tidarium. And then that's why when, you know, Han, Leia, Chewie, and Luke are on Shuttle Tidarium heading to Forest Moon of Endor, and they use the clearance code, and they're like, oh, it's an old code, sir, but it checked out. It's an old code because this ship was stolen like 3 years prior.
I love the beats falling because like the second it starts, like it opens with, I always butcher the name of it. Is it the tentative 4?
Tenta V4,
Tenta
yeah.
V4. And it's literally that, like, you've got like the leader of the rebels, and he's got like a riding crop in his hand. like it's like a classic Patton moment where he's just sitting there and he's just like, come on. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like basically, come on, who wants to die for the cause? And you see and it's like the hallway with all the stormtroopers shooting back, and you know, you've got all the rebels etched up against the sides of the wall, like shooting back, people dropping left and right. And Tag and Bink walk past, they look at it, and they're just both like, nope.
Yeah.
They just run right past everything, end up in like this side corridor. And while they're talking, C-3PO, with a complete lack of self-awareness, is talking unbelievably loud, as he always does. And in the background of that, like Leia's recording the message with R2. And it's just like this tiny little thing in the background. C-3PO is talking. Everyone else escapes. And because C-3PO is so loud, they get captured by stormtroopers. It's just like, and that is like just a quintessential moment of like a series of just like events that just perfectly fit together.
A moment's great too, because the first thing I thought of when that guy, yeah, you're right, it's like the scene in Patton when he's in front of the United States flag and all that. But I was thinking even deeper to something you and I both love too, which is Starship Troopers.
I knew you were going to say that. Come on, you apes, you want to live forever? Sorry to steal your thunder, I had to do it.
Yeah, well, and all I could think about, you know, was welcome to the Roughnecks, Rajak's Roughnecks, or later Rico's Roughnecks. And I was like, it's the same thing. And yeah, you want to live forever? And it's like, yeah, I do actually.
It's like, like I believe in the cause, but do I want to die for the cause? Probably not.
I love that too, because that's kind of, there's a bit of an undercurrent that sort of continues throughout that whole first issue, where they're sort of being like, oh, maybe like we chose the wrong side.
I think it's my favorite part, where there's like this right after they get captured. And in that opening sequence, mad spoilers for everyone. And to be honest, I don't think you actually lose anything, because in prepping for this, I read it about 5 times, and it was still fucking hilarious each time I read it. And I picked up different little bits and pieces each time I read it, but they're being like, I guess, perp walked by 2 stormtroopers who have captured them. And basically the 2 stormtroopers that have captured them have been like, hey man, like you guys are fighting for the wrong side. Like they got great dental. They take care of us. Like that's fucking sweet. And like, I think it's Bink is just like, this guy's making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, say less, like keep going. Like tell me more.
Yeah. He's basically just outing what the recruitment strategy is. It's just, you know, it's how the military is in general, right? It's like, hey, look at all these benefits, and they're leaving.
You've got good health. You're taking care of 3 squares a day.
Yeah. The funny part of that too is like kind of describing prison.
I do like what I found so great about it is the way that, like, while the humor is like irreverent and you know, here and there, the details, and I think that's what really makes these 2 comics stand out so much. The details make it so much denser than it should be. So they're running through the hallways right at the beginning. This is like one of the first frames in there, and it's either Tag or Bink, I can never remember which is saying to the other one, what do you think your chances are? And he's like, standard ground troop complement of an Imperial class destroyer is 9,700. Each carries an E11 blast tech rifle capable of over 500 chops. We are 50 armed troopers with 20-year-old equipment held together with twine, adhesive, and the will of the Force. All in all, I say our chances are slim to none, and slim just hit hyperspace. It's just like, I was like, this is fucking so bang on. Like, it is so much funnier than it has any right to be. But it's just, it's funny too, because it just made me think of every moment in Star Wars where it's just a tiny pairing of like just two people. And you think about it like Han and fucking Luke infiltrating to get Leia out. You know, it always seems to be this coupling of just people going out and moments that they can pick it from. And I think that they've definitely gone through and been like, we can just cherry pick and just do whatever the fuck we want. And it's definitely giving me, I feel like the inspiration for all of this was, what if when Han and Luke were infiltrating, it was just two regular dudes who had no fucking idea what they're doing, which is not too far removed
Yeah, I was
from
about
what
to
actually
say,
happens.
they actually don't have any idea what they're doing because, of course, when they rescue Leia, she takes command of her own rescue.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think the other thing that I love about this is that the classic comedy beats. Like, this reminded me of Mad Magazine.
Yes.
Like their version of satire, like that's what it like. And I'm talking about really sharp, old school, like 1980s, 1990s, like Mad or Cracked magazine, where it was like really, really fucking sharp, biting satire. You know, very, very clever, beautiful. You know, and it's beautifully drawn. Also, I have to make mention of the number of fucking shots where they're mugging to the audience, or the fourth wall breaks all the way through it. I don't know if this was pre or during the Deadpool era. I don't know if this was a predecessor, but it's either one has influenced the other for sure, because there are so many fourth wall breaks, particularly by the writer Kevin Rubio talking quite self-depreciatingly about how useless he is at hitting a deadline.
Yeah, I mean the comic opens with a fourth wall break because the first panel is a whole page and it's like their take on the opening crawl, and the opening crawl doesn't tell you anything about sort of what's happening in the story. It's Kevin Rubio explaining how he's basically sat on drafts for months and the writer has poorly influenced the artist's ability to get his job done. And my favorite part of that whole panel is down the bottom. The panel's not complete. It's got like a half sketch down the bottom where the artist has ran out of time to finish the panel.
What I love about that too is that, and I could be reading too much into it, but I kind of feel like it fits, is it's got like a coffee stain.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
And the coffee stain is perfectly circular with drops of coffee. And I swear to God, it looks like the Death Star to me.
Oh, I think that is 100% it.
And it's just like, I've got to read it because I got it right in front of me. It's like, Episode 4.1, Tag and Bink are dead. It is a period of great strife and turmoil at Dark Horse Comics, with Episode 2 still months away. Editors struggled to meet the demand for new Star Wars comics brought on by a ravenous and unforgiving fan base. They bought our shit, mate. They took our shit away from us. Dark Horse editor Dave Land, in a move that he now regrets, commissions the ever-late, always procrastinating Kevin Rubio to concoct a two-part comedic story about two young rebel officers set during the time of Episode 4. Even now as you read this, Kevin struggles to meet the deadline for the next book, and artist Lucas Marangon is slowly going insane because of the impossible visuals Kevin has asked for in the limited time that is left to draw the book. Turn the page and let the hilarious adventures commence. And all you see is, like you said, the unfinished thing, the coffee stain, where the artist is trying to do it, and all it says is, the only word balloon is darn.
Yeah.
I remember that was the first panel, and I was just like, I'm going to fucking love this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it resonates with us and so many people. This is like clearly a cult classic, for obvious reasons, but you and I have the same sense of humor, I think. And I think what I love about that opening page as well is it's so layered, like it is self-referential and depreciating, but it's a bit of an insight into like the creative process, and how it can get away from you quite quickly. And obviously it's like intentional, but it's probably not too far removed from the truth of what actually happened.
From what everything that I've read and heard, and I know some people in the comic industry, that it is like the deadlines are crazy.
Oh, it
is at like the seat of your pants all the time. And I know from my experience of writing for, like 15 years, as in professionally writing for 15 years, it's one of those, it was a meme I saw that resonated so fucking hard with me. And it was just like a timeline, and it just said like starting point and deadline. And it just had written the creative process, and it had like 3/4 of the way through, it just said procrastination.
Yeah.
Then it had like and out of the third of the quarter left, it said fear and panic. And then it said all the work while crying.
Yeah.
It is literally like every single time I've had a project to work on, if I have weeks or months, I'll write it, I'll rewrite it, I'll redo it. The number of times I've written reviews or previews weeks in advance and binned it like the day before because I'm like, this is garbage. I hate this. And rewritten it literally like 2 hours before the deadline is due, like scrambling for words because your brain kind of, and I know you get this, your brain clicks into the creative process where you're like, and I don't know if this is the neurodivergence clicking in as well, but it just like a switch flips and you're just like, I don't have time to be critical. I just need to get the shit out. And your brain just kind of hits that Zen moment. And it's just everything that comes out is just great. Exactly what you needed. And I think it's just that I've never seen the pressure of like that so beautifully captured in like one fucking panel. And maybe I'm reading too much into this just from my own experience, but I definitely like encapsulated everything that I felt about the creative process.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about like this, this work is smart in its comedy, like where in a way that things like Spaceballs or Scary Movie aren't, in that they've taken the formula of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, which in and of itself is like, a way of examining Hamlet from a different perspective. So then they're doing that, but then there's another layer to it that you can, get, or if you miss it, like, you're not losing anything because
you're going to have fun.
You're still on the adventure with Tag and Bink. But yeah, there's this sub layer of like what it means to like be a creative that I just really appreciated because, and I love how the second sort of issue starts as well, where they've retconned like the ending where he's basically like, was that a red herring or was it planned all along? And like he drew like Kevin Rubio. I keep saying Marco Rubio, like that stupid fucking loser from the Trump administration. Kevin Rubio,
thank you,
like is drawn into the comic and he's just there talking to you, the reader, being like, I wrote myself into a corner, or did I plan this all along? Like, guess it's up to you to kind of figure out. And I just kind of appreciate that because, when it's like Tag and Bink were the two TIE fighter pilots with Vader in the trench run, and you're like, fuck off. No, they weren't.
Because they die.
Yeah, you're like, well, they're dead, so how's,
And then I love the way they do that because in the next panel afterwards, it's like Vader talking to the two of them, and then behind them are two identical TIE fighter pilots, and Tag looks at Bink and he's just like, isn't that the guy who was on? We should on the ship at the beginning. We should probably hang back a little bit, and then they just disappear into the background and steal another fucking ship. It's fucking fantastic. The movie references as well through it are so clever. Like even when they're being captured at the beginning, like they got their hands on their head and the stormtroopers are walking them, and he's like, it's so fucking John McClane in the vent at Die Hard.
Yeah,
like he's looking at I think it's Bink looking at Tag, and he's like, join the rebellion. You said, see the galaxy, meet new people.
Yeah,
it's like come out to the coast, we'll have a good time, have a few laughs. It's just like fucking, it's just like this. It really has this is another fine mess you've gotten me into.
Yeah, 100%. I think what is really cool as well, when they obviously do the stormtrooper disguise thing, constantly they're like stormtroopers and then they're TIE fighter pilots and then they're back to stormtroopers. But they're putting the helmets on and they're just kind of like, oh, no wonder like stormtroopers are so inaccurate. Like you can't see shit in this helmet. And that's one of my favorite gags in Star Wars. I really love it in Rebels when Kanan and Rex put the stormtrooper gear on and Rex is suddenly like an incompetent soldier. Like he can't hit shit. He's stumbling around, he's running into things, and he takes the helmet off and he just like goes, nah. Like I love that thing of like the old soldier having the new equipment being like, this is shit. This is like non-functional. This is clearly cheap because you're mass producing it.
It's also the reoccurring gags that they have in it, like the number of people, like the number of times they talk about where like even when they steal the uniforms, they're talking to the guards and they're just like, not really great for peripheral vision, is it? And then they just kick him in the head and take their uniforms. Or the guy who, I can't remember his name, the guy who Vader was force choking at the beginning of Star Wars.
Captain Antilles. Yeah.
Antilles. He's like giving that. Tag and Bink ended up being the two stormtroopers who were on watch while Obi-Wan is turning off the generator for the Death Star. And he's like reaming them out hard. And he's just like, the only reason you two still have jobs is because of, because of the fact that Grand Moff Tarkin wanted this to happen. And, and he's like, and they're just like, in our defense, sir. He's like, have you ever worn one of these things? It's like, do you know how hard it is? You can't see peripheral. And he takes a step to the side of them and goes, oh, you're saying you don't have good peripheral vision? They're like, no. And he just clocks.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so funny because it's clever, it's on point, it's all the memery, but it's also so in keeping with what the character is. You know that guy is the absolute kind of douchebag who would ream out what he would consider beneath him staff member who is coming to him with a legitimate gripe and concern. And he's just like, how dare you talk to me? Do you know this is my space station? How dare you? Definitely giving me like Krennic fucking vibes.
Yeah, I do love that officer is like, this is my like space station. It's like, no, it's not. This is not yours.
My other favorite gag they do is the blooper where, in Star Wars, one of the stormtroopers like walks into one of the doorways and has like the little helmet bop.
Yeah.
And they actually have included that in the background as like Bink is I think it's Bink is running into the side. It just has this little like bop moment. And I was just like, fuck me, man. I mean, all of that, like 90% of what we've described is all just in the first fucking issue. And they're not long. They're like 24-page issues. But it's so dense. It's so filled with like great canon moments that are just so in keeping with everything. Like I think that why it's so clever and why I have such love for it is you could literally look at it and go, yeah, that could happen. Do you know what I mean? You're not sitting there going, oh, this is just fanciful and ridiculous and whatever. You're just like, if I suspend disbelief for a second, like, the maths for me.
Yeah, I love when they're in Cloud City and it turns out that they're the ones that shot C-3PO. Pure because it was revenge for him, exposing them in the first issue of him. He's like, oh, I told you, like, if I ever saw you again. And he just blasts the shit out of
no
3PO.
Hesitation either. Like the second he sees him and then
oh, quicker draw than Boba Fett.
And then Tag's like, why isn't that it? And he's like, I told him.
Yeah.
I warned him.
Yeah. I love that and the shuttle Tidarium are really cool nods. Because like when I was a kid, I always wondered like, oh, who shot 3PO? And to see that it was actually someone like that. That's the thing about all this. Like, if you told me this was all canon, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like, I really wouldn't. I really enjoyed the way they had, accidentally self-inserted themselves either into the background of pivotal moments or have influenced the pivotal moments in the
throughout the whole thing. I mean, I love that. At the end of the first one, like so they're stuck in the shuttle Tidarian. I think they're the one that's like coming out of the Death Star as it's blowing up, and they're left like in the middle. Their hyperdrive gets knocked out or whatever. So they're just like, oh, we need to make it back to the rebel base, and they get back to the rebel base. The rebels have already left. It took them months to get there. They get back there, and you can see the remnants of the celebration at the end of Star Wars. They pick up and there's like, it's a medal for Chewie. And it just says Chewie and they're looking at the side going, oh, it kind of looks like a collar. And they're holding it. And it's because I know so many people are just like, Han, Luke, why didn't Chewie get his flowers? Chewie was the whole fucking time. No flowers for Chewie, nothing for Chewie. And this really felt like justice for Chewie.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, Chewie didn't get a medal because, the rebels are racist. Like, I love
it's just
that.
a dog.
Yeah, I did love that joke. Like, it looks like a collar for like an animal, basically. And you're like, oh man, it actually does.
It really does. And they just carried it and then fucking just keeps wearing. He just puts it on.
Yeah.
And he's just walking around. I'm just going to keep this. It's like, yeah, this is cool. I like it.
That's when Boba rocks up too, and they they just kind of bash him.
I think it's great because you don't know who it is, and they just get fired on. And the one thing I don't know if you noticed is like they're firing, the red lasers each time. And Tag gets clipped twice by blue laser shots to the chest, but does nothing to him. So I don't know if it's like Stormtrooper armor or if it's just like the stun doesn't hit him or wears off or whatever. And I remember them when they're looking over, they're like, do you know who that is? And the guy's like, yep. And he's like, and I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah.
And even when they like through circumstance manage to best Boba, I think they just steal his hyperdrive so that they can get off.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's like, do you know who I am? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, but you don't know who we are. So we're fucking out. So good. And then it's like they get to Cloud City and he's fucking already there.
Yeah.
He's like, motherfucker, I know your moves before you know. Even without the hyperdrive and whatever, I'm still better at this than you.
Yeah, I love how the second issue ends too, where they've saved the day, everything's all good. They've gotten out of this massive mess. They've delivered shuttle Tidarium. They'll be heroes, and they sort of look out the window and they're like, oh, what's that in the distance? It's Boba Fett on Slave One. On the fire spray gunship heading their way.
I love it because you see, I've got the panel here. He's like, trust me, man, from here on in, we're going to be sitting pretty. And he's like, Bink? And he's like, what? And all you see is like the ship. And he's just like, nah, never mind. It's probably nothing.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends. And you're just like, what the fuck? My favorite panel and the whole thing is that they're friends with Lando because Lando used to date one of the two of their sisters, like not as in one sister, as in both of the sisters.
Yeah, he dated both of Tag's sisters.
Both of Tag's sisters, and that
at the same time.
at the same time, and he was dating somebody high up's daughter at the same time, and basically Tag is like his alibi for all of that, so that's why he's in his debt.
Yeah,
and it's one of my favorite panels. Is it's got Lando sitting on a fucking beanbag chair in his room, just chilling, and he's just looking at both of them, and he's like, "You guys know anything about this droid that's been blown up?" And he's got like the fingers together, really pensive face, and both Tag and Bink are like, he did it to each other. But the reason why I love it is right behind Lando's head is a poster of Mace Windu.
Yeah.
And it just says Mace on it, and it's got flames in the background, and he's got like this stern look, and it has written on it like it's signed at a convention.
Yeah.
It says, to my main man Lando, may the force be with you. But it's like BW/W, and then it's signed Mace.
Yeah, that's a smart fourth wall break,
And it's like, if you're not paying attention, you're just like, oh yeah, that's a cool little poster. And he obviously loves Mace Windu because they're the only two black characters outside of Finn in the fucking universe.
Yeah, well, Finn doesn't exist yet. Yeah.
So it kills me. Like the number of times I've gone back and like looked at this and gone, this panel kills me. This is going to be great. It's just so much fun. I cannot reiterate or tell people how much fun this series is to fucking read and go through.
Something else I thought was pretty cool about them. Well, it's not cool for for Bink, but Tag is born on Corellia, which is basically a planet where, Han Solo's from. And it's where ships like the Millennium Falcon are manufactured. Like it's a Corellian YT model freighter. So he's got that cool linkage. And then Bink's born on Alderaan. Which is like a really harsh moment when they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to go to Alderaan. And he's like, oh, won't they shoot at us or whatever because they're in TIE fighters? Because that's their first attempt at escaping the Death Star. They take 2 TIE fighters. And they're like, won't they shoot at us? He's like, nah, man, we're a peaceful planet. And they try to get there and it's gone.
And I love everything they flipped is like, it doesn't matter what they do. They're just like, they've got a stolen ship of somehow, through some circumstance. So they're just like, nah, man, we're heroes. We're heroes on a super secret mission that nobody knew about. So we're just going to come and we've stolen this ship for future purposes. And so,
yeah. And then it turns out they turn around, they're like, all right, well, back to the Death Star. And they're actually the TIE fighters that the Millennium Falcon encounters. When, when Obi-Wan's like, it's a short-range fighter. It's like heading back to the Death Star.
It's the two of them like, well, we tried to get to Alderaan. Alderaan doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So, oh, well. It's really funny, too, because I don't know timing-wise or if this is like a classic Deadpool thing, but every time Deadpool, I think in the opening sequence of the first movie, and I'm not sure if this is taken from a comic. I'm assuming that it is, but it's like, when his face gets like smashed, he jumps into one of the SUVs and he's killing like a bunch of people, and his face gets like smooshed into the car seat, and he's like rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in this when Pink sees the shuttle Tiderian, and he's got like the heart eyes, and he's looking at it, and he goes, "Rich Corellian leather."
Yeah.
Just fucking. I don't know if my brain just made those two things all fit together and coalesce, but it just hammered the point home of like all this fourth wall breaking, the clever writing. It's just got these punchy beats to it, and I don't know anyone else who's read this.
No.
Like, I've never come across anybody who sat there and gone, "Have you read Tag and Bink?" Like, nobody in any of the fandoms. And I picked this up because it was so crazily different. And to be honest, completely forgot about it. And then maybe a year ago, I went through my, sad to say, extensive comic collection that I have not gone through in many, many years. And it had just popped up, and I was like, "Oh, I remember this was a banger." I read it, still held up, was still fucking hilarious, meant to tell you. And then, of course, my goldfish brain just went. And then when we started doing this, we were discussing, we wanted to explore our love of Star Wars in every possible media that we could and medium that we could. So I was just like, we've got to read this. And I was so on the fence because part of me was like, if he doesn't love this as much as I do, I'm going to be fucking devastated. And I was like, and part of me wanted to just keep it to myself. I was just like,
risk.
It was. I had such fear because I was just like,
dude, it's that feeling when like there's a game or movie that you like love, and then you're like, watch it. And then your friend just goes, "Yeah, it was okay." Or like, "Oh, I fucking hated it." And it's like one of the most devastating feelings.
It's the two signs is like you're either intently watching them because something's going to happen and you're waiting for their reaction, and there's no reaction. That's number one. Number two is they're scrolling through their phone while it's on. I'm just like, or three, when they go to the bathroom and you're like, "Do you want to pause?" "I'll pause it." And they're like, "No, I'm good." You're just like spit in my face. Like, seriously, like just punch me in my face and end our friendship. That would be less painful for me than me trying to share something with you that I love that you are indifferent to.
Yeah, when I was at uni, my friends would come over a lot because they all lived with their parents and still do. Losers.
50% of this podcast does not endorse this kind of behavior. We love all of the basement dwellers who stay with their parents, and we applaud you for saving up and having enough money to buy your own place eventually one day.
Yeah, look, I respect the game, but in this economy, but they would come over obviously because they were like, it's the only place where they could hang out and be like not around their parents. And we used to we'd play like D&D or paint Warhammer.
Nerd.
Yeah, do nerd shit. But we'd often watch movies or do marathons. I made them watch like all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels. They loved it all, thank God. But one that was devastating to me was I made them watch the Sergio Leone like Dollars trilogy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, obviously
classic
fistful of dollars
movies.
For a few dollars more on The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And they all were just like, "Oh, like that kind of sucked." And I was distraught. I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, I couldn't fathom that opinion,
You're just lucky because that was the universe going, "You need to get you some new friends."
I was just like, wow, okay, I'll go fuck myself.
I do feel that like I don't know how else to say it. I feel like there are certain things that are near, like almost canon events in friendships. Do you know what I mean? It's like it has to happen. And if you are not in complete agreement on these things, it could literally, like, honestly, this was that big for me because it's just, I had such wonderful memories, and especially because it's such a departure from all the other type of Star Wars stuff. They just don't delve into comedy at all.
No.
It's like what you see about like the best comedies on Star Wars. Not Star Wars, it's Spaceballs. The best comedy on Star Trek is in Star Trek. It's fucking Galaxy Quest, which is arguably one of the best written Star Trek episodes and movies that has ever existed. It's so clever. So I was so fucking like, oh man. So that's why I was kind of like nudging you and then really hesitant to find out.
The funny, and this is like the epitome of like, this is classic Haydo behavior. I knew you felt that way. So when I first finished it, I was like, I might just message him and say it was dog shit. and then just like not follow it up with another message and just let it hang for
Which is very, very, very classic younger sibling behavior from you, which would have just left me like in a fetal position at home, like, fuck me, man.
But no, from that first panel, like hooked me in. And then, I was a bit surprised at how clever it was.
Look, it comes out the gate swinging. It's a very, very strong, like the first probably 2 to 3 pages, they swung for the fences and they absolutely hit it, and they hit every mark. And then they kind of like ease into it, and it becomes a little bit more of a, to and fro and a bit of a roller coaster of where they all sit. But like those first, like, I think maybe 4 or 5 pages until they get onto the Death Star is absolute dynamite. Like every single word is just a banger. Every single, bit of dialogue, the panel is just perfect. Could be overselling it, but I just think it is such a clever piece of literature, and it's just something that I imagine so many people have never even heard of or read.
Yeah, like I loved it. And I immediately was like, because sometimes things are like, oh, it's our take on this famous thing here, and then it really has nothing to do with the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we were just talking about this earlier with like, film adaptations of novels, and all they've taken is the IP name for for recognition.
Yes.
And it's nothing like the book, and it doesn't have the themes
or it says based on this. It should just be like loosely, or just like we bought, as you said, we bought the IP.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, because that's what we wanted. But this wasn't like that. Like from the get-go, I believed that what was happening on the pages in front of me was taking place in the universe I love.
And you know what I loved about it is that you can see how much both of them love Star Wars.
Yes.
Like they are 2 dudes who loves themselves some Star Wars. And I didn't actually put any of this together until this moment, but it's so like fucking meta and just Inception wise, because it's like a story by 2 guys who love themselves Star Wars. Loves themselves some Star Wars about 2 characters who are in the middle of Star Wars being spoken about on a podcast by 2 guys who love themselves some Star Wars. Like, it's like poetry at rhymes. It's fucking wild. But yeah, like you can actually feel the love and the reverence, and they're just like these are just like it's people playing with their favorite toys.
100%. And like they get the details right too, like what the panel you read out before where he's talking about how many troops are on a Star Destroyer. He calls it the Blast Tech E11. He doesn't just call it Stormtrooper rifle. Like he uses the manufacturer's name, its designation number. He tells you how many shots it's capable of, which I was reading that and I was like, that is all correct.
I was reading like that's cool. I'm sure Haydo will know that that's correct. In my head, I'm like, cool detail, nerd. And then in my head, I was like, Haydo will be able to sit there. And that's why part of me was like, oh God, this. And I'm, of course, because it's got Star Wars on it, I'm assuming that they've done their research. You can still make something funny and do the diligent research on it to make sure that it's accurate, as well as hilarious.
And I think it speaks to, because this came out in 2001. We're talking about this now in 2026, the big 2-6. Next year's 2027, and that's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. And it just the holding and staying power this franchise has, because the people who get into it, they're not just like, oh yeah, I like Star Wars. Like they live and breathe it. Yeah. In a way that they then, he was obviously a Star Wars fan when Star Wars came out, and then he goes to film school and he becomes a comics writer and stuff like that. And then he makes Star Wars products because it's inspired that, and it keeps happening. Things don't tend to last 5 decades. You know what I mean? I can only think, the other things I really think about is like Lord of the Rings, but anything else that you think about still being around is because it's classic literature. Yeah. It's a part of the highbrow English canon. Popular culture stuff doesn't, often experience that. It comes and goes a lot. It's pretty common to see something that you watched years ago and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that thing.
I feel like there's certain things. Remember you were talking about, I think it was when we were talking on the last pod when we were discussing our first touch points with Star Wars and what it was like and how different it was for the 2 of us besides, what our OG trilogies were. was the fact that, like, for me, when that came out outside of Lord of the Rings, there wasn't anything quite like it.
Mm.
And I've kind of been delving through, like, I guess, like almost a subroutine running through my pop culture fandom in my brain, going in the background, like, what else is there? And it's kind of cyclical in a lot of stuff. Like, you know, I guess it would be like Turtles, Transformers, to a lesser extent, He-Man. You know what I mean? Like G.I. Joe, like those things.
Yeah, the other ones I was thinking about, I was like Ninja Turtles, obviously, because you and I both love that too, like aggressively.
And true. Last Ronin, baby, can't wait.
And Transformers, definitely. And then I think there's a rung below those two,
which I think is where they sit.
And I think that's where He-Man and G.I. Joe go.
Because it's interesting, they've never really been able to nail those fandoms. In a way they have and they haven't. Like, you know, like He-Man is often so bad it's good.
Yeah.
And it's a caricature of itself, which it embraces, which I think is wonderful. And I'll go back to it. Like the He-Man movie is the latest one, Masters of the Universe, fucking fantastic. It has absolutely no business being as good as it is. Like it is absolutely hilarious. It is funny. It is camp. It is self-referential. It rips the shit out of itself. It's very, very clever. And I love it. G.I. Joe was the same thing. Like they didn't know what to do with it. I know it's an awful film, but the fucking one with Channing Tatum, I fucking love it. It is god awful. It is
so bad.
Awful. But you know, there's just something about it that I love. And the fact that the latest version of it is being penned and directed by Danny McBride of all people.
Oh,
I don't give a shit. I'm so fucking on board.
I can't wait. I am
so on board.
The problem with G.I. Joe, I think in the current zeitgeist, it's very like, hoorah, like America. And that's not the vibe the world has towards that country anymore.
No, America is looking more like the America in The Creator than the classic America. We will defend the world from all tyranny. It's like, actually, we're starting. It's the, oh wait, are we the baddies?
Yeah, G.I. Joe can only be good if you embrace the campiness.
You have to. And I mean, I know that they were toying around having a crossover with when they did Transformers Rise of the Beast, they kind of touched on the G.I. Joe crossover. And I got very, very excited because Rise of the Beast was also, in my opinion, very underrated. I thought it was a very clever movie and super fun. I know we kind of tangented a little bit. That'll happen. But yeah, I don't really feel that there's anything that is going to endure the way this does. I mean, because it keeps developing in different areas. Like we've got, you know, Ninth Jedi coming out. You know, there's so many. I think it's because Star Wars embraces so many different mediums and each one is kind of popular in its own right. Like I haven't read a Star Wars comic since Tag and Bink. You know, I am sure there is a fucking library of stuff that I've missed. You know, the only two I can remember reading is that, Dark Empire, and Shadows of the Empire. Those are the only three Star Wars comics and some manga versions that I got of the OG trilogy.
I was huge into Charles Soule's Darth Vader run, sort of like, I think it's like 2017 sort of onwards. That I was reading those when I was at uni. And I remember one of my like English professors at the time was kind of like, because he was a Star Wars fan, but he was adamant, like, I'm only OG only. Like, that's it. I was like, whatever, old man. Like, shut up, boomer. But, you know, I'd finished the first issue and I said to him, I'm not going to try and convince you to like anything else, whatever. Because he was like, his main, like Han Solo was his favorite character. And he'd bring it up all the time in like lectures, like, because we're obviously doing creative writing and all that sort of stuff. And he's just like, I thought what they did to Han was crass. Like there was like a big bugbear for him. And I was just like, forget everything else exists. I was like, read this Darth Vader comic. And then he came back like the next week and he gave, like, I let him borrow it. And then he gave it back to me. And then he said he had then bought the others on like his Kindle e-reader thing, whatever he was using. He'd read like all of them and he was up to date. And he was like, you were right. This is like fantastic. And I love that because it was someone who, you know, was just like, fuck everything else. It's all garbage. And it's like, you haven't even given it a chance, my dude.
I thought this story was going to go a whole different direction. And I was preparing to get angry and just be like, not another one. It's just like, I think that's the thing, right? There's something for everyone. And if there's a Star Wars story that you're looking to explore, if you're open to other mediums, you're going to find it. And if you're going to digest different media to do it, you'll get there. Like, this was one of the most happiest accidents I think I've ever had, in both as like a comic book nerd and a Star Wars fan, where I just sat there and was like, I don't even know what this is. I bought it off the strength of the cover.
Yeah,
And
which is awesome.
For people who don't know, it's a shot of Tag and Bink in a hallway with two stormtroopers torso down, knocked out in front of them, their bodies like on the floor, with like wearing boxer shorts with the Imperial logo.
Yeah.
They're getting dressed into the stormtroopers' armor, and behind them is a looming figure of fucking Vader. I looked at that and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I know what Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead is. And I was like, and I'm fucking on board.
Yeah, it has a bit of a Scooby-Doo vibe about it too, of like those meddling kids. Like,
Such a good call. No, look, I don't really have a lot more to say about it. I just think it's great. I think that you can find it just about anywhere online. If you're looking for a physical copy, it's a little harder. If you want the OGs, there are trade paperbacks, because I think they've done another 2 issues, and I think there's a holiday special or like a Christmas special. Yeah, it's a thumbs up from me.
Cool. Well, we're gonna do something different. I'm introducing a segment. It's called Haydo's Holocron.
I had no idea this was happening. This is shocking.
And
that was
I'm
sarcasm.
just going to sort of, deep dive into some pieces of trivia or Easter eggs.
I look forward to knowing none of them.
So we'll start with the coolest one. So Tag and Bink actually appear in deleted scenes from Solo, a Star Wars story.
Get fucked.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen the deleted scenes. I assume not. So early in the film where Solo obviously enlists in the Imperial Navy because he wants to be a pilot.
Yes.
And they're like, we'll have you flying in no time. And then it cuts to him on Mimban being a dirty grunt in the trenches. There's actually in between those two sort of things is he does go to the Naval Academy, and he basically Kobayashi Maru's his way through the academy, ignoring all the fucking rules and regulations, and he causes an accident. So he ends up at like an Imperial tribunal, like court-martial for his behavior, and he gets kicked out of the Naval Academy, and that's when he's then sent to the Imperial Army, and he becomes a trooper on Mimban. But as he's escorted out of the hearing, he's escorted out by 2 officers, and it's Tag and Bink.
Do they name check them, or is it just like they've just like put that as a throwaway line somewhere in the commentary or something?
Yeah, so they look to be identified officially as Tag and Bink, and they're in a visual dictionary as Tag and Bink. But this is the best part about this. While it's not in the film, it is canon because it appears in the Solo novelization.
So they're canon. This is fucking spectacular. That is the best fucking thing.
Never say never.
I am looking forward to the series that you and I pen, which is Tag and Bink Are Dead. Disney, we're ready.
So we talked earlier about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, the film. So Tom Stoppard, who obviously came up with the play and directed the film, he has an unofficial credit for doing some script rewrites for George on Revenge of the Sith.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I found that pretty interesting. Not sure what scenes or anything, couldn't find much info on that, but the source for that was like a Rolling Stone review article, which absolutely hated Revenge of the Sith and said not even Tom Stoppard could save it.
Fucking hell.
So that was interesting. In a 2017 Reddit AMA, so Ask Me Anything, author Kevin Rubio said he supported the fan theory that the 2 First Order stormtroopers present for Kylo Ren's tantrum, when he just wrecks shop, that's an elderly Tag and Bink in disguise.
Oh my God.
And that's why they've found themselves there in that moment, like, oh shit. And that's why they look at each other.
Because they're like, well, this is another fine mess you've gotten me into.
I mean, not that our support means anything, but I assume you back that fan theory.
Absolutely. I back all of these theories, all of these things. This is Just by the way, I had no idea this was coming. I knew Haydo's holocron was coming, but we talked about me being the audience member in the room with no idea
Yeah.
of what was happening, and I had no idea it was going to be this. This is absolutely brilliant.
Mark is also credited as a screenwriter for the Star Wars The Clone Wars episode Bombad Jedi.
That I did know.
Yes, and I went and rewatched it the other night, and then, you know, with this new Tag and Bink knowledge, I was like, it's the same format. It's just Jar Jar by himself, bumbling his way through a situation, impacting the plot, but in a way where everyone around him thinks he's a Jedi.
Yeah. And the funniest thing is, I didn't know that through watching the episode, because I did a scotch of research when I was trying to find out like how prolific had, you know, Kevin Rubio and Mark been since this. Like, did this become a thing for them? Was this their shtick? And it's kind of weird that it's just like nothing.
Yeah, kind of their careers just sort of seem to peter out.
Yeah, which is kind of sad considering like this is so good.
Yeah, I wonder what else they're up to that's maybe just not highly publicized.
I mean, I've followed Mark on Instagram, and he's still illustrating and he's still doing bits and pieces, but it doesn't seem to be tied to anything particular. But that is fascinating, because when I read that, I went through the same lens as you did, and I just went, of course, it totally makes sense.
Yeah,
like, that is him. Yeah, that is his style of writing. You know,
and I really love that episode.
Same.
Like, I know people feel how they do about Jar Jar, but I never really bought into that. I just think if he's not for you, he's not for you. I think he's like, you know, George was big into I don't know its like proper name, but like sort of Jamaican slapstick comedy. And that's what Jar Jar's meant to be a representation of. It was big in like, I think the 20s and 30s. So it has an old feel to it, you know, because George loves all that old shit.
Well, he's a huge fan of physical comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Jar Jar's meant to be. And it doesn't land with obviously older people, but like it does with a very niche audience of children, I think, or like niche adults as well. But that Bombad Jedi episode is pretty good, I think. Because Jar Jar's kind. He's just a buffoon.
Yeah.
More from the holocron. You had already touched on it. So yeah, Kevin Rubio directed Star Wars Troops, which is obviously a Star Wars parody of Cops. Debuted at San Diego Comic-Con in 1997. So that was obviously for the, would have been the 20th anniversary, right?
Yes.
Or 30th. I'm bad at math.
Oh,
20th. Yeah. Really bad
the
at
math. Don't math.
So I actually saw that for the first time. It was included on the special features disc for the Blu-ray release of the complete saga.
No way.
Yeah, so obviously I watched all the films on Blu-ray when they came out. But yeah, there was like a special features, did heaps of deleted scenes, commentary, watched all of that. And yeah, Troops was on that. And it was exactly like Cops, obviously. Because I used to watch like clips of Cops on like YouTube back in the day. And but I love that. And what's cool about that as well, in a 2018 Reddit AMA, Kevin Rubio said that George Lucas told him that he considers Troops to be an official part of Star Wars canon. Which means that Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen died from that domestic dispute with the thermal detonator. And that's why their bodies are all charred. And you know what? If George says that's canon, that's enough for me.
Yeah, that's the same. What I love is I feel like there's a part of me that just feels like George is just like, Rubio's my dude. Like he's just like, I love this dude, and he's just like, yeah, sure, bro, whatever you want.
Yeah,
like you're reverent to the fucking trilogy, to the OGs. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I love George's vibe. Is kind of like canon is whatever he likes.
Yeah.
So like he's not a big fan of like Mara Jade. So he's just like, no. And everyone's like, but we love Mara Jade, and he's like, I don't care. Like,
she's not for me.
Yeah, because Mara Jade ends up being in the Legends canon or expanded universe at the time, like Luke Skywalker's wife, and he's like, no, Jedi don't get married. Sorry, that's not. He's like, I don't care about your OC. Like, self-insert bullshit where you want Luke to have a hot wife. And
I love that he's just like, no attachment. It's actually one of my favorite fucking memes that they've done about this, where they talk about like where George has come back and gone like they can have sex but they can't have attachments.
Yeah.
And it's a dude like, can you imagine you've just had a booty call with somebody and it's like, hey girl, mate, I think the phrasing was you've just clapped those cheeks, and he's like, hey girl, may the force be with you because I won't.
It's funny you say that. One of my favorite Star Wars novels is Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, who's a fantastic author, but she is one of my favorite Star Wars authors, probably my favorites. The Master and Apprentice is it's like a prequel before Phantom Menace, and it's about Obi-Wan and Anakin. And Dooku's actually in it as well, which is awesome. So you get to see the three of them interacting as Jedi. But there is straight up just a scene where they address that. They're talking about like Jedi celibacy. And there's a Jedi character in the thing where he's just like, no, you don't have to be celibate. And he's just like getting around Coruscant, having one night stands. He's like, it just means no attachment.
I can just see this whole just like cadre of fucking Jedi fuckboys just running around just like, fucking tanning booths, fucking abs. What's up, girls?
Yeah.
And then just like in the morning, just
Jedi
gone.
maxing. Yeah, it's like Saturday nights for the boys. They're all tanned. Got their shades.
They've
on.
got spiky hair with frosted tips.
Yeah, and then what do they I hate the fashion. The like the loafers with no socks. Walking around Coruscant with those.
They're wearing their Jedi robes with like no undershirt. So it's just like they got the deepest V down to like the
gold
first couple of
with
hats.
a gold chain that ends as just like the Jedi logo.
And no, it just says BWU, BWY, just be with you. That meme made me laugh so much. Every time I see it, it destroys me because it's like clapping cheeks. Hey girl, may the force be with you because I won't. And do you know what's even more fucked? I just see this like slew of like, you can just see like, let's just say canonically Obi-Wan is like this horrendous fuckboy back in the day. Like
well, he was with Duchess Satine.
When he's fucking like in the aftermath of Qui-Gon, he's just like lost himself and he's just like fucking goes. And then it's like I kind of pick a planet that he's like, where he's staying is like just thousands of force sensitives coming up because he's just like tagging and bagging on his way through.
And yeah, you're selling it as like I'm just creating the future generation of Jedi.
Just see like the whole fucking Jedi Academy. Who's your dad? Obi-Wan. Oh, yeah. And there's like 400 other students are all just like, mine too. Same.
Yeah, it'd be like in Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan goes to see Yoda and he's like teaching all the Padawans, the younglings. He walks in and they're like, hello, Master Obi-Wan. They all just look like him.
And they're all just describing, my mum never got his name, but she said he looked like this. They're all just exactly describing.
Yeah. Our front porch security camera got a glimpse, though.
I can just see his signature is like in the morning, he just fucking, when they do the force sprint, he does it just before he leaves. He's like, goodbye there.
Yeah.
Just force sprints.
Deadbeat dad Obi-Wan.
Make it canon, George. Make it canon.
Yeah, make it canon. If Troops and Tag and Bink can be canon, deadbeat dad Obi-Wan.
Oh God. And honestly, Filoni, give fucking Rubio a job. Give him a fucking series. Give him an episode. Give him a fucking screenwriter's job. Give him something, man.
Yeah, give him literally anything. I would love a little like Tag and Bink, like a micro series maybe. Short little 5 to 7 minute episodes.
Because it could be all of those moments. But it'd be great to do it through like all of the expanded canon universe.
Oh yeah, don't limit to the OGs.
Like there's just somewhere where they're just like you said, Kylo Ren. They're just like, let's get the fuck out of here.
And that one works perfectly because it's the same energy in that scene.
100%. Oh my God. What a fucking roller coaster this episode has been.
Deadbeat Dad Obi-Wan's still my favorite.
That is absolutely the title for the episode is Obi-Wan a deadbeat dad.
No, he's like,
Can Jedi be fuckboys?
is Obi-Wan a fuckboy?
The algorithm will love that one.
Oh, it gets so bad too if he's like Mace Windu went to the shop for milk and never came.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, anyway.
Being blown out of a window is not an excuse.
Well, that's Tag and Bink are dead. Any final thoughts? other than go read it.
Go read it, muse over whether Jedi can be fuckboys. Now get back to us in the comment section, please.
Yeah.
What? I do have a final thought.
Is Obi-Wan a deadbeat dad? Hit like and subscribe and let us know in the comments.
Right. Slap that subscribe button and ding the bell, and you can get more dynamite drop-ins like this.
Yeah.
Look, for whoever is still around and listening, we appreciate you for going on this journey with us. We just love talking ourselves some Star Wars and going on some wonderful little tangents. And it is the most important thing that we haven't done this episode, is that we would love to hear what people think, because we are part of the highly and critically acclaimed podcast, as referred to as Not Bad by the guy in the lift at work. And I look forward to getting better than Not Bad at some point, but I'll take Not Bad.
Working our way up.
Yeah. That's it from me.
And you all suck. That's it from me. Nah, thanks to everyone who's joining us on this journey as we fuck around on the internet.
Before he says something else, it's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
You suck.